Yeah, I kind of wanted some clarification on D. So it sounds like, can they still graze on Bridger Jack and Lavender Mesas?
They're not. They're not available in alternative A as well.
Okay, they're not grazing there now?
Right.
Is it on the very top?
It is.
Bridger
It's
Jack
very
Mesa's
top.
not accessible.
Okay.
As I looked at the maps, that's the way I read it. So
It's,
okay.
it's the
but
top
you
of
might
those
know more
mesas.
than I do.
Used to be considered a relic ACEC for a relic plant community because it's basically inaccessible to cattle.
Right. I just wanted some clarification that it wasn't, you know,
Right.
because there's another dispute below. That's all.
Yeah, it's the stuff up on top.
Yeah.
Of Bridger Jack.
And I guess Shea Canyon, I mean, there's really not much room up there to graze anyway. Would there be a fence put in to stop cattle from going up there? I mean, they don't really need a trail through there to go anywhere.
So
I guess.
they're still allowed to trail through there now, but they haven't been grazing in that area for quite a while.
All right, I guess I'm fine.
Zip?
Oh, your name's up. He was-
Sorry.
I didn't know what I was trying to talk about.
Scoot, is it Scoot?
So, yeah,
Scoot and
I'm
Ryan?
totally, I'm on board with the motion, it's the second on the table, but as, for just one more point of discussion, in 2.4.5.2, one of the sub-bullet points to the first one is recreational high-use areas, and those are areas that are meant to be avoided. Everything else that's meant to be avoided, agricultural resources, everything else is fairly static. It's not going to grow. It's not going to change. With recreational high-use areas, especially with popularity of the monument, that's going to change. That's going to be changing constantly. Does that mean that because of this, that the cattle and grazing is always going to lose out when that conflict arises as it increases? And that is going to increase.
Well, in fact, on page 2, chapter 2, page 3, it talks about that, particularly in the upper Indian Creek. And it talks as if there's conflicts with grazing and climbers or whatever else in recreation, that they would pretty much look at eliminating livestock grazing, you know. And so maybe Kelly's right. Maybe if you look at, you know, the conflicts down the road, maybe grazing would take the hit, and I don't think they should. Or I think that recreation should be regulated as much or more than livestock are. So, but it is in the plan that, particularly with Indian Creek, if there's a conflict as we go down the road with recreation and cattle, that it says, of course, that was involved with alternative B, so I don't know how you would handle it if you stayed with alternative, you know, D or whatever, but I don't know how that would deal with that conflict. But typically, livestock has, you know, have to take the back seat, take the hit when there's conflict with recreation. And the way I read this proclamation, it shouldn't have to do that.
I think that's a recommendation that, you know, if you want to change the emphasis, the flavor, that would be perfect. You're right, and the way it reads, it kind of reads that way. And, you know, it's been everything from alcoves. We've fenced across an alcove because the cows will get up in there. And like I say, we know that. They're fairly static, as you say. Recreational areas do have opportunity to expand. Those will be discussed in the implementation level documents, so you will have opportunity to say, oh, but that's not right. But again, this is setting the tone for all that subservient other documents, so that would be appropriate for you to kind of weigh in on how you see that.
Ryan?
I think coming from my standpoint, traditionally, on the Native American side, I think traditionally, historically, we've always been cattlemen, cattle grazers, particularly with Navajos. The immense size of our Navajo Nation was expanded just because of livestock grazing, and the President of the United States went ahead and saw that and expanded that, continuing on with Congress to now our land base being the size that it is for the Navajo Nation because of livestock grazing. So I think I could support alternative A and alternative D. Also, just a quick question again, just for the record, that for alternative B, that would take away Native American grazing permits, right, for alternative B at Milk Ranch Point?
Alternative B would hit the Comb Wash and the Cotton
That's
Rock and
correct.
Babylon. It's really hard.
And so we don't want, or my recommendation is to actually maintain those Native American cattle grazing A and U, so that's why I would support alternative A.
Kelly?
Yeah, sorry, one quick comment on 2.4.5.1 on the third bullet point. It says maintain and improve range improvements, including access to allow for effective range management. I would love to have that say maintain and improve range improvements and authorize new improvements to allow for effective range management. I don't think they should be confined to just existing improvements. There should be a window to let them authorize new improvements in the area as well.
Okay. Lee?
In response to Gail's concern about recreation uses and grazing, if you look at cultural landscapes, you look at a landscape populated by grazing animals. That's the standard historic use within both limits of the monument. So if cultural landscapes becomes an important element in here, then that would be another consideration that the agencies would have to undertake before they decided whether it was the recreators that gave or the ranchers that gave.
Okay, that's good.
That's how I see it.